My name is Narisa Tappitake. I am the Deputy Director of the Intrepid Spirit Center here on Fort Carson, and I'm an occupational therapist. Occupational therapy is the art and science of using occupation, important activities, to help people reach their goals. So here, one of the main occupations that we work on is sleep and relaxation, right? So we know sleep, relaxation, they're foundational for recovery, right? Better you sleep, the more time you spend in deep sleep, right? You get all that tissue repair, help with memory. So here we try to utilize, right, the needed occupations, right, like sleep, like figuring out how to, do the tasks needed for your job. Also, being a parent, being a spouse, being a friend or community member, those are all occupations. And so we use those as the goals for treatment. And then for the treatment, we'll help to guide that service member through different occupations that are meaningful for them. At our clinic, occupational therapy covers sleep and relaxation. So for a lot of our service members, that is one of the major complaints after one concussion or even multiple concussions. So we use cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia to help improve sleep, and then we also do relaxation training. So for a lot of our service members, regulating their nervous system is difficult after injury, and so we use evidence-based activities, mostly quiet relaxation, to help them learn how to down-regulate, right? Most of our service members are good at that up-regulation, but it's harder to down-regulate to get to that place where sleep will come to them. So some of the outings that we have during our intensive outpatient program are to help our service members get back into their community. So we do a number of different outings. We try to structure them so that we're visiting places that the service members can continue to visit. So Habitat for Humanity is one of them. We go to a community garden, and then we also go up to the stables at USAFA where they have an equine therapy program. So here in Colorado Springs, the organization that runs an equine therapy program is called Remount, and their goal is really to help service members get back to life. So the service members are typically paired up with another service member. They learn to care for horses. Sometimes they learn to ride horses. It really depends on what they're looking for and what symptoms they're struggling with. So working with horses is a pretty amazing process. I think a lot of our service members are hands-on learners, and so being able to help, care for the area that the horses are living in, learn to groom horses, it puts them in their, favorite learning style, sometimes to learn something new, sometimes to connect with, an old hobby if they had been around horses in the past. And I think one of the most amazing things about horses is that they have such a strong presence. So being around horses, it's almost like a mirror, right? The horses react to people. And then oftentimes once the service members are kind of synced up with the horse, right, it really helps them to down-regulate. So we had this amazing experience where we had a service member who she had had a really rough week, personal experiences, some work experiences, and we went into the corral with the horses, and all the horses came to her. So they all came, they pointed their heads in towards her, and they kind of forced her to pause and take a moment, and it was very emotional for her, and she teared up a little like I am right now, but I think it gave her that space to feel what she was feeling, and then also to kind of let it go, right? right? So horses are so big, you can, the women who work there, they always say you can tell them your secrets and they won't tell anybody. So I think one of the most important things about our programming here is that our staff here, try to meet every service member where they're at. So sometimes they come and maybe they've had a recent injury. It's their first injury. They've only had a certain amount of life experience. And so our job is to help them figure out, how do they get back to that experience? How do they get back to their best life? Sometimes we have service members that come who have had symptoms for years and years. And, they've managed on their own for all those years and years, and then suddenly they get to a point where they're isolating, or they're, avoiding important things, or they can't do what they want to do anymore. And so they come to us in a different stage of life and just a different experience with their symptoms. But here at the Intrepid Spirit Center, our mission is to help them, get back to their best life, no matter where they are in that course of care or with their symptomology.